D5 Render's new ocean tool makes it so easy to create beautiful islands and beachfront properties just like this. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use this new tool and how to leverage it for your own projects. I'll give you a quick demo on how you can model an island in literally less than a minute. So let's get right into it. First things first is the new ocean tool lives under the terrain tool. So click this and then go down to ocean. Once it drops in, it may fall in the correct location, or you need to increase the height or decrease it. Simply click and drag here or type in a number and you'll see it'll automatically move and adjust the coastline for you, which is really cool because traditionally you would have to create an infinitely long plane and then add the coastlines, and it was a whole mess. So this really simplifies it. So the other nice functionality that we're going to get here is wave scale. So I've got this nice aerial view so you can see what's going to happen here. If I increase this, you see how the actual texture of the waves are actually increasing. So I'll decrease it and let's fly down just so you can see just at the water level what's going to happen. Lower value is kind of what you would expect on an ocean. Something higher is kind of like a lake, like a slow moving lake. Something lower is definitely like an ocean feel. Then we've got wave height. This is basically going to control essentially like the normal of the waves, right? Higher height, it's going to make it look a little bit weird. You don't want to go too high, but if you go too low, it doesn't really look like the water is moving. So you want to find a nice balance. And as always, if you ever modify a setting and you don't like it, you can just right click and it'll set it to the default. You see that? Easy for that. And speed is literally how fast the water will move around. If I increase this, it'll be much more fast moving. If I lower it, it'll basically be a standstill. So the combination of speed, wave height, and wave scale will actually give the impression if something's moving faster or slower. So keep that in mind. Then we've got the material colors for absorption and scattering. So let me go up here and watch this. When I change absorption, think of this as basically like the color of the ocean. So as I start changing this to a lower, darker value, you see how it becomes so dark? If I were to do something drastic like this magenta, you see that? So we're basically getting this like drop off where it's really, really red over here and kind of blue here. That's partly from the scattering effect that we're getting here. So I can change this to be whiter. So it basically scatters more. Black is scattered less. So that's why we're getting that black there. So if you're ever confused about what each thing does, we now in 3.0 get a bunch of new tooltips. So absorption controls the water color and depth transparency. Then we've got scattering, controls the water turbidity and sense of volume. And on the point of volume, I do want to point this out because this is actually really cool. If you notice, when you go below the water plane, it makes it look like you're actually underwater. So you're getting caustics and everything, and there's some sort of like post-process volume going on. So you're seeing like the light scatter, and it actually feels like you're underwater. I feel like you could do some really cool animation stuff with this. So just pay attention to that. You've got that. Then you've got depth. This is very similar to the water controller material that we have. Lower depth makes it look like shallower water. Higher depth makes it look deeper. Again, I find that 9, I think they've done a great job with the default settings, calibrates it nicely. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to reset these settings. So that's for the surface tab. We actually have a nice coastline tab. So if I go over here and I'm going to switch my view, we have the ability to control the coast. So the coast is basically coming in and colliding with our mesh here. I can control the size of our coast waves here, right? And I can control the speed, right? So here I can make it look like it's coming in faster. And I can also play with the width. You see that? It's basically like grouping them as you raise it, but when you lower it, it makes them a little bit wider, okay? So again, right click will always reset that. Then you can also tune the material as well. So I'll make it a brighter blue so there's a nice contrast to the ocean here. I'll even make it magenta as well, just so you could see that. So this is gonna be absorption of the coast, and then scattering, you can basically control how much or how dark that color is. You see that? Then we've got foam. It's basically like, do you want foam or not? In the real world, you're always going to have foam. So that's why I recommend always keeping this on. So nearshore foam is going to be this stuff right here. And offshore foam is going to be this guy right here. You see this? That's all offshore. So it's basically like you've got 2 levels of foam. You see that? It's really, really subtle. And then you can play with the foam size for this guy out here if you want it to be smaller or larger. Again, I think default value is totally fine. And if you're in the situation where you've got something that pierces the waterline, you can have the coast actually wrap around it. So check this out. If I were to go over to assets, a simple box, basic model, and I'll scale it up. That was hotkey V to easily switch. And I'm just going to break the scale so I can make it come out almost like a pier. Now, you see how the coastline is basically cutting through it. It's not picking it up as a collision. Well, if I go back to the ocean, make sure that's selected, and hit coastline anchor, Now when I click this and hit done, you see how the waves and the coast is forming around that. And that's that foam you're seeing right there. So that's going to give you a lot more control. When you have a bunch of things colliding, you'll realize like, okay, maybe this is too much or too little. So you could definitely play with that. I definitely lower this. That way it's not as intense. But again, this is huge. I feel like this makes things so much easier for these types of like beachfront island scenes. If you're ever in a situation where you sculpt your island or something and it's not picking up on that new geometry, you can always force an update with refresh coastline. Okay, that's what that's going to do. It's basically going to redetect that coastline. So as I promised before, if you want to make an island, I'll give you a couple tips. I feel like there's two good ways of doing it. We'll start from scratch over here. So the terrain tool, so terrain, not ocean, actually has some really easy functions for you to do this. You could go with the height map method where you click this and you grab essentially a brush and you drag that out and you can lower the height map to essentially represent that island. Look at that. And it'll automatically detect the coastline and everything, give you waves, and this is all editable. So this is great, very simple, and this is all controlled from this one little decal here. So I can move this around, and there we go. So that's super handy. If you want a little bit more control and you want to sculpt the actual thing yourself, you can go over to your sculpt control and drop in a brush texture. I'm using one from the library. You can just grab any of these, increase the size and strength, and then just click and drag. And look at that, you're gonna get a little bit of an island. I always like to mix it up, add a little bit of noise, that way you get a different coastline, and then I can kind of smoothen this all out because I don't want all these cliffs. So that's one way to get all this geometry. And now if you want to even populate this, all you have to do is use the scatter tool. So what I like to do is give the scatter something I can host it on. So I can paint a specific material. I'm just gonna grab this white sandstone and just paint it around. And you can use any color you want. You can always left click and hit replace. That's super easy. And once I've painted in the spots I want, I can go over to scatter, click select material, click on my white limestone here, create scatter material. And now it's giving me the grids that it's picked up on that white limestone material. So now I can hit add assets and I can search for anything I want. Let's say I want this guy, I want this, and look at that, it's being populated. And the beauty of scatter, if you don't know, is you can easily change the density from one controller. I just clicked area, I can lower density to 25. And if I still think that's too dense, I can actually change the distribution. So right here, it's got this white map basically saying fill it, 25. If I click this and click something like a little bit noisy, I'm gonna get these nice little pockets and this is gonna look a lot more realistic. So there we go. In no time at all, I was able to do that. I can always swap out these assets. I can always change how frequently they spawn next to each other. That's what collision volume is. Raising it is basically going to reduce the amount of trees that will be created because the collision volume is blocking them from spawning. I can also play with the scaling. So if I want this one to be a little bit bigger than the others, makes it very easy. And then lastly, and this is kind of like covering another DeFi 3.0 feature, is you can always use the AI agent to give you a beautiful environment setup. So what I'm going to do is just hit add scene and watch this. If I go to AI agent, I can actually click AI scene match and ask it to create something for me. So right now I have a clean and bright scene, but let's say I want to make it, maybe more like a dusk-like. I can actually say, make this scene dusk, early evening. And then I'll send this off and then it's going to think about that and use that prompt to modify all these settings. So again, in no time at all, we were able to drop in an ocean, model an island, add vegetation, and then add these environment settings on top of that. And the cool part of this is you can actually see it thinking, which is really cool. So if you just want to double check that it understood your intent, pretty cool. And it's also a good way to learn and see what it's going to do. So for the future, okay, if this is going straight to the sky settings or the shadow settings, I can do that too. Then once it's done thinking, it's going to give you a little preview image, which is great. You hit apply the atmosphere. And it'll take that information and add it here. And check that out. It applied the lighting settings. It looks just like the image and it's beautiful. And if you're wondering, hey, Andy, that HDRI doesn't look too good. Well, part of the 3.0 update is you can actually play with the resolution. So if you go to file preferences and then rendering, you can change the resolution right here. The reason it looks so pixelated is actually an optimization, because if it looked super high res, it would actually slow down your computer. So just, for argument's sake, if I were to boost this to 8K, it's going to think for a little. There we go. We've got our clouds looking great. And again, because this is using AI in T5, all this is editable. So check that out. So very, very cool. So anyways, that's it for this video. We've covered the ocean tool, how to use it, and also threw in the bonus of how to model an island and some extra tidbits. If you have a feature you want me to cover next, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions about this, let me know as well. And as always, if you made it this far, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It really helps me out. And see you next time.